Welcome back to the Hoop Hysteria channel. The conference semifinals of this season's playoffs have concluded, and the four teams that ultimately stood on the stage of the conference finals are the Thunder vs. Timberwolves and the Knicks vs. Pacers. In the past few seasons, the dominance of some legendary superstars in the NBA has declined, reaching its peak this season. Kevin Durant failed to even guarantee a play-in tournament berth while leading his team. James Harden remained as stable as ever in the regular season, with his ability to anchor the team second to none in the league, but he was even more stable in the playoffs. It was rare to see him step up in critical and win-or-go-home games. Take the Lakers as an example. After crossing the 40-year-old threshold, LeBron James' physical fitness has declined to a realistic level, and both he and Luka Doncic are ball-dominant cores who fall below defensive standards. The Lakers must make a choice this summer. If they build the roster around Doncic, they can only strengthen the interior and add standard 3 and D blue-collar players. The new generation has fully risen, with all four conference final teams having young leaders at the helm. Jalen Brunson of the Knicks was once disliked by the Mavericks, who refused to offer him a 4-year, $55 million contract, but in New York, he has improved annually and become the toughest superstar in the playoffs, leading the team to eliminate the reigning champions and reach the Eastern Conference Finals, just one step away from the Eastern Conference Championship. Tyrese Haliburton of the Pacers was once shopped around the league by the Kings, but now he has led the team to the Eastern Conference Finals for 2 consecutive years, with a team full of contributors and a measurable ceiling. Anthony Edwards of the Timberwolves has also led his team to the Western Conference Finals for 2 consecutive years, which is no easy feat in the brutal Western Conference competition. Although Karl-Anthony Towns left, Edwards now has Julius Randle to assist him, and the team is balanced in offense and defense, posing a significant test for the Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the absolute core of the Thunder, truly has a chance to crown himself as the league's top player this season. Averaging 30.7 points, 5 rebounds, and 6.4 assists in the regular season, his advanced statistics are comparable to Nikola Jokic's. From the leaked MVP voting results, Alexander has a substantial lead over Jokic. It's not that Jokic is not good enough, but there is universal aesthetic fatigue towards him, while Alexander is younger. This season, he led the Thunder to a franchise-best 68-14 record in the regular season, making him a deserving candidate and prematurely locking up this season's MVP. This summer, Alexander is eligible to complete a 4-year, $290 million Supermax extension, with salaries starting from the 2027-28 season, $65.68 million, $70.94 million, $76.19 million, and $81.45 million, becoming the NBA's first $80 million per year player. Alexander's gains this season are not limited to that. US Media Beat gave a championship probability prediction, with the Thunder at 82.6%, the Timberwolves at 7.5%, the Knicks at 6.8%, and the Pacers at 3.1%. As the team's leader, Alexander's probability of winning the Finals MVP also far exceeds that of the other 3 team leaders. With home court advantage in the Western Conference Finals and Finals, as well as the team's overall strong immediate combat capability, it seems that Alexander will make a killing this season. However, the league may have miscalculated. The biggest controversy surrounding Alexander is that he always receives some preferential officiating in regular season clutch moments, which has drawn serious dissatisfaction from reporters of teams like the Clippers, Warriors, Timberwolves, and Nuggets. Even in the playoffs, Alexander still averages 8.7 free throws per game. There is no doubt that Alexander will win the MVP and the $290 million Supermax contract, and the Thunder are also the biggest championship favorites. But does Alexander deserve to prematurely book the Finals MVP? What makes the Thunder truly terrifying is that they can always suddenly deliver a dominant performance when at the same competitive level as their opponents. For example, they defeated the Grizzlies by 51 points in the first round and blew out the Nuggets by 32 points in a Game 7 showdown in the second round. The reason is that they don't need Alexander to go all out. Relying on the team's suffocating defense, endless transition attacks, forcing opponents into turnovers, and capitalizing on fast break opportunities, they can blow out games. There is a statistic: When Alexander is on the court in the playoffs, the team wins by 13.3 points per 100 possessions. But when he is off the court, the team wins by 13.8 points per 100 possessions, with his on-off differential being minus 0.5. The team performs better without him, especially with a defensive efficiency of 100.4. Alexander has obvious shortcomings. He cannot step up in clutch moments and lacks perimeter shooting, so opponents can fully sag off and double-team him, forcing him to pass or score in fragmented ways. He struggles to maintain offensive continuity and mainly relies on the team's rhythm for fast breaks. Moreover, Alexander cannot carry the team to tough finishes like Brunson or Donovan Mitchell. Once facing high-pressure situations, the Thunder can lose their rhythm. In other words, the team is so strong that it lifts Alexander up. His role is more like an assassin than the team's central offensive hub, even though he handles the most ball rights. The league may indeed have miscalculated. Perhaps the uncertainty of this season's championship is diminishing as the Thunder's overall advantages surpass those of the other three teams. However, if Alexander is to win both the MVP and FMVP in the same season, he still lags behind the previous superstars who achieved this feat in history, including Michael Jordan 4 times, LeBron James twice, Larry Bird twice, Tim Duncan once, Shaquille O'Neal once, etc. The league seems to be pushing him too hard, as he has not yet reached that level or truly dominated games. In a sense, the league's preferential officiating for Alexander will only reduce the credibility of his honors. On another note, in the Thunder's home Game 7 against the Nuggets, Nuggets star Aaron Gordon played through a grade to hamstring strain, normally requiring at least a month of rest, and delivered an impressive stat line of 8 points, 11 rebounds, and the game's highest plus-minus. Unfortunately, the Nuggets' overall performance and roster depth were no match for the Thunder, ultimately suffering a 93-125 blowout and exiting in the conference semifinals. After the game, many expressed respect and admiration for Gordon, but some also turned their criticism toward Warriors star Stephen Curry. Many insinuated that while Gordon played through a grade to hamstring injury, Curry, with a grade 1 hamstring strain, sat on the bench and watched the Warriors exit, lacking the leadership responsibility and accountability of a team leader. In Game 1 between the Warriors and Timberwolves, Curry accidentally suffered a grade 1 strain in his left hamstring and subsequently missed for consecutive games. The Warriors were then gentlemen swept by the Timberwolves. So why use Gordon's playing through injury to contrast and mock Curry? First, we must offer the highest respect to Gordon. To put it bluntly, this game could even affect his future career. If there are any after effects, in the harsh reality of competitive sports, Gordon's value would decline, and his next contract would also be impacted. Second, the claim that Curry did not return after resting for 3 games with a grade 1 strain is indeed excessive. On one hand, Curry and Gordon have completely different playing styles. Curry's style is more like that of a soccer player, needing to run all over the court to create space continuously. If he couldn't even complete sprints, letting him play without being able to run would honestly be of little use. Although Gordon also needs to run back and forth and requires explosive jumping ability, his height, wingspan, and physical confrontation ability allow him to hold his own to some extent despite the risks, and he can still play a role. Moreover, the core of the Nuggets is Jokic, so Gordon faces less pressure. For Curry, it's completely different. Opponents would definitely target him. If he couldn't run, he wouldn't be very effective on the court and would still bear risks. Additionally, the situations of the Warriors and Nuggets were different. At that time, the Warriors were trailing 1-3. Frankly speaking, the outcome was somewhat decided. If Curry had forced a comeback, on one hand, it would have been difficult to reverse the situation, and on the other hand, even if they won the away game, it would have been extremely challenging to reverse the series afterward. Expecting Curry to keep playing through injury was unreasonable. For the Nuggets, this was a win-or-go-home Game 7, a completely different situation. If the Nuggets won, Gordon could consider resting the first 2 away games in the Western Conference Finals and see how Jokic led the team at home. If the Nuggets could indeed take the home court with momentum, Gordon would have a chance to return later. Therefore, with different playing styles and team situations, there is no need for comparison at all. Of course, as a 37-year-old veteran, Curry's muscle recovery is slower, and the risk of repeated injuries is higher. The medical team usually recommends more conservative treatment. Gordon is in the prime of his physical abilities, recovers faster, and has stronger tolerance, making short-term injury play more feasible. The Warriors have always had a tradition of injury load management, after all, with the painful precedents of Durant's Achilles tear and Thompson's to career-threatening injuries. Plus, as the soul of the Warriors, the team would not allow Curry to play through injury. The Nuggets advocate a culture of tenacity and tough play, and Jokic, Murray, and Porter often play through injuries, which undoubtedly strengthened Gordon's determination to play hurt. Most importantly, the Warriors' system highly relies on Curry's ball handling, running, three-point shooting, and ability to attract double teams. A hamstring injury directly affects Curry's explosiveness. Forcing a comeback might lead to low efficiency, failing to help the team, and even worsening the injury. In the Nuggets, Gordon mainly serves as a cut finisher and perimeter spacing threat. Even if a hamstring injury affects his mobility, he can still contribute through spot-up shooting, screening, and defense. In summary, Gordon's choice to play through injury deserves full recognition and respect. He is indeed a tough player who selflessly gives his all for the team's benefit. In fact, his approach carries significant risks, as it could potentially cause career-threatening injuries. His spirit is admirable, but not worth emulating. Meanwhile, we should not overly criticize veteran Curry, as they differ in age, playing style, and the perspective and depth from which they consider issues. Ultimately, no one wants to fail to contribute to the team. People truly should not criticize injured athletes from a moral high ground. Finally, recently Warriors owner Lacob gave an interview expressing a different view on the team's performance this season, still stubbornly insisting, first, if Curry had not been injured, the Warriors would definitely have beaten the Timberwolves. Second, although the rookies selected by the Warriors did not produce beautiful stats, the team's drafting vision and strategy were sound, and the drafting work was carried out very well. Regarding the first point, although the Warriors won the first game at the Timberwolves' home court, Curry's unexpected injury made the series opening bittersweet. In fact, injuries are part of the game. A large part of why Curry got injured was due to fatigue, reflecting the Warriors' reliance on him. Looking at the next four games, without Curry's gravitational pull, many Warriors players showed their true colors. Even if Curry had not been injured, would the Warriors have definitely won? The answer is no. It is obvious that there was a gap in overall strength between the two teams. The Timberwolves' perimeter shooting could not remain as poor as in Game 1 forever. In the battle of talent, as the series progressed, Butler's performance curve would decline while Edwards would continue to rise steadily. In the interior matchup, Gobert would handle the Warriors' centers, and if the Warriors chose to play small ball, Randle and Reed would be unstoppable. So ultimately, the Warriors' only strong point was Curry, putting them in a passive position. Regarding the second point, facts have proven that the Warriors' draft strategy of trying to win both now and in the future has completely failed. If only Lacob had not been so ambitious and had honestly sought immediate contributors to help Curry chase another championship at the tail end of his prime, Curry would not have been so exhausted. It is said that rookies need 3 years to develop, but the highly anticipated Wiseman has long become ordinary, Moody has been unremarkable, and Kuminga seems destined to leave the team. In the end, it has all been a waste of effort. Given these rookies' performances, it is astonishing that Lacob still has the nerve to claim the Warriors' drafting work was fine. Everyone clearly sees the actual effectiveness of this work, proving one truth. Many of the Warriors' decisions at the time, including those of former general manager Bob Myers, were actually the owner's wishes. It was Lacob's overconfident and excessive interference in management that laid the foundation for the Warriors' rapid decline after their 2022 championship. Of course, what Lacob says now is less important than whether he can wake up and stop interfering in management decisions, letting professionals do professional work. The focus now is on whether Dunleavy Jr. can turn the tide in Kuminga's contract renewal and this summer's free agent market. Curry still has plenty of gas left in the tank. Do not let his prime years go to waste.